Sometimes, things don't go the way we expect. These zookeepers put a bunch of piglets into a cage with a full-grown tiger. Everyone watching held their breath, thinking the little ones would be gone in seconds. But no one could have guessed what the tiger did next. We've always been taught to stay far away from big cats. Tigers are powerful, wild predators, and honestly, it's true. But sometimes even the wildest animals surprise us. And that's exactly what this tigress did. A few years ago, a video from a zoo in Thailand went viral. It showed a group of piglets living in the same enclosure as a fully grown tiger. The footage came from the Sriracha Tiger Zoo in Chonburi, where the staff had started a new kind of project. They'd noticed that some of the tigers under their care seemed really unhappy. A few had old injuries, but one tiger in particular, named Sumi, was dealing with something deeper. Sumi had been at the zoo for many years. She was quiet and usually kept to herself. Some days she interacted with the staff and other tigers, but most of the time she preferred her own space. Even so, she seemed content. After years of trying to help her start a family, the zookeepers were thrilled when she finally became pregnant. Since tiger numbers have been dropping for years, every new cub is a big deal. The whole zoo was excited. The pregnancy only lasted a few months, and everyone waited eagerly for the big day. But when the time came, things didn't go as planned. Sumi gave birth to 3 cubs. 2 died shortly after they were born, and the third only survived a few days before passing away in her arms. The loss hit her hard. Sumi was heartbroken. She barely ate, hardly moved, and seemed uninterested in anything. The staff could see she was grieving deeply, and they knew they needed to do something to help her heal. At the time, the zoo had been working on a project designed to help wild animals adjust to captivity, and part of that included introducing predators and prey to one another in controlled settings. The theory was that the calm energy of smaller animals might have a soothing effect on larger, more stressed animals. It sounded strange, but the team believed it could actually work. They wanted to test it using young prey animals and female predators, hoping the motherly instincts would kick in. And Sumi seemed like the perfect candidate. She was still mourning the loss of her cubs, and they hoped this would help her move forward. Just a few doors down, this pig, named Plea, had recently given birth to 12 piglets. The staff brought her and 6 of the piglets near Sumi's cage. At first, the tiger didn't care. She didn't even look up when they walked by. She barely noticed them. But after a few days of short visits, something changed. The tigress started glancing at the piglets when they came by. By the end of the week, she was watching them closely. For the first time in a while, she seemed interested in something, maybe even hopeful. The keepers decided it was time to try the next phase. That morning, they brought the piglets over as usual. Sumi laid quietly, watching them with calm curiosity. Then, the staff gently picked up the piglets and placed all 6 of them inside the cage with her. At first, Sumi froze. She looked completely confused. The keepers could see it all in her body language. She wasn't angry, just uncertain. The piglets, still too young to understand what was happening, didn't seem scared at all. They walked around casually, exploring the space, unaware they were sharing it with one of nature's top predators. And then, something completely unexpected happened. One by one, the piglets started walking toward the tigress. They were tiny and fragile, but for some reason, they seemed to feel safe around her. All 6 made their way over and began snuggling up beside her. Everyone watching held their breath. What would Sumi do? For a few long minutes, she didn't move. The piglets curled against her side, totally relaxed. Then one of them climbed up on her back, and that's when she finally reacted. Instead of growling or swiping, Sumi did something no one could have predicted. She gently lowered her head and began nuzzling the piglets. By the end of the day, it was clear this tigress had taken on the role of mom. She followed the piglets, kept them close, and even let them run around her without a care. The zookeepers couldn't believe it. News of the miracle tiger mom spread fast. Visitors poured in to see the unusual family with their own eyes. One of the zookeepers explained to a group of curious guests, "We first took the piglets from their mother and placed them near the tiger. Right away, they ran to her like she was their mom." It was the kind of bond no one could have scripted. Over the next few days, the staff noticed a big change in Sumi. She was more alert, more active, and clearly enjoying her new role. To keep the piglets extra cozy, the team dressed them in tiny little tiger-striped outfits. It wasn't to fool Sumi, she knew who they were, but it helped keep them warm. You see, the tigress had been cuddling them constantly. At first, the staff thought it was just affection, but then they realized something. The room was a little too cold for the piglets. Sumi had been using her body to warm them up, just like a real mom would. That's when they knew this wasn't just a fluke. It was something special. The experiment worked better than anyone could have imagined. The piglets formed a bond with the tigress that amazed everyone. But the biggest success was what it did for Sumi. She wasn't the sad, grieving tiger they had seen before. Now she was busy, playful, and full of life. Her adopted babies gave her a reason to keep going. And after a few weeks, something even more incredible happened. Sumi started reconnecting with the other tigers at the zoo. She was more social, more confident, and not long after, she began mating again. Less than a year later, she gave birth to a healthy litter of tiger cubs. Sumi was now a proud mom, not just to her tiger cubs, but to her adopted piglet babies too. And she didn't keep them separate. The tigress made sure to introduce her new cubs to the piglets like they were all one big family. Videos of the mixed group playing together flooded the internet, and once again, they went viral. This heartwarming story from a zoo in Thailand showed the world something powerful. Sometimes, family doesn't look how we expect. But love, comfort, and healing? That can come from the most unexpected places. Have you seen the viral pictures of Sumi and her adorable little crew? Do you think this kind of experiment could work with other predators and prey? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.